Hi everyone, dear students. I am your English teacher for the following days. As you all know that for class 8 there will be three main textbooks. One is New Buzzword Textbook MCB, next one is Supplementary Reader Literature, and next one is Enjoying Grammar. Today I am going to deal with main course textbook. For the main course textbook, there is 7 theme provided for you. Under first theme, first chapter named Georgie's Secret Key to the Universe. First theme is named as Exploring Space. A small warm-up activity is given for you in page number 4. Man on Moon, Exploration of Mars, Stargazing. Some pictures are given for you. As we all know that for exploring space, we need modern scientific tools and instruments, and missions also we need. With the help of satellites, we can access more information also. Fine. So we got a clear warm-up for our chapter, Georgie's Secret Key to the Universe. The group of stars with different shape can be called as constellations, isn't it? So two constellations are given for you in the picture for the introduction: Big Dipper and Little Dipper, Orion or Hunter. So let's begin the story. Georgie's Secret Key to the Universe. And now read on to find out how a star is formed in outer space. George enters an abandoned house to find his pet. He finds out that the house is not abandoned and a girl called Annie lives there with her father, Eric. Eric is a scientist and likes George very much. Their house is in a mess, but George spots many interesting things in the clutter of books and papers. The thing that fascinates him the most is Eric's special computer. The introduction of the chapter itself gives who are the main characters in the story. So, do you know who are the main characters in the story? George, a girl named Annie, and her father, Eric. Eric is a scientist, isn't it? The specialty in that house is it is abandoned house. Abandoned means very much lonely house, separated with other atmosphere. When George entered the house, he seen or he fascinated with lot of books and papers. More than that, Eric's special computer also. He got fascinated, interested. Eric's computer was small and glossy. Glossy means shiny and smooth. Once again, Eric's computer was small and glossy. It looked powerful and neat, the sort of computer you might find on a spaceship. Spaceship means a vehicle that travel in space. Eric hit a couple of buttons on the keyboard and the computer made a sort of humming noise while bright flashes of color shot across the screen. He patted the computer happily. Humming noise means actually you can hear a humming noise of a bird there, isn't it? Likewise, when we operate a computer, when we start a computer, a processing sound will form. Likewise, it started its sound for start. You have forgotten something, said a strange mechanical voice, and George jumped out of his skin. Have I? Eric looked confused for a moment. Yes, said the voice. You have not introduced me. I'm so sorry, exclaimed Eric. George, this is Cosmos, my computer. So Eric the scientist is introducing about Cosmos. The name of Cosmos is actually who? Whose name is this Cosmos? That special computer name is called Cosmos. So this Eric is introducing Cosmos to whom? George. George gulped. He had no idea what to say. Gulp means swallow quickly, isn't it? You have to say hello to Cosmos, said Eric in a side whisper to George. Otherwise, he will get offended. Offended means upset or angry. So Eric is compelling George, please say a wish or please say hello to whom? Our Cosmos. Otherwise, this Cosmos will be very much angry. Hello, Cosmos, said George nervously. He had never spoken to a computer before. First time George is speaking to a computer. Actually, it is like a robot itself. Hello, George, replied Cosmos. I am the most powerful computer in the world. In the future, there will be computer more powerful than me, but there are none in the past or present. Very confidently, Cosmos introducing himself to George. I am the supercomputer in the world. In the future, maybe some more special computers will be available, but at present and past, comparing with the present and past, I am the person or I am the computer with how more qualities or very much powerful. Sorry about this, Eric whispered to George. Computers can be a bit touchy sometimes. Here touchy means sensitive or easily upset by something. I am cleverer than Eric too, boasted Cosmos. Boasted means talked to whom? George very much proudly. Says who? Said Eric crossly, glaring at the screen. Says me, said Cosmos. I can compute billions of numbers in a nanosecond. In less time than it takes you to say Cosmos is great. I can compute the life of planets, of comets, of stars and galaxies before you can say Cosmos is the most impressive computer that I have ever seen. He is truly incredible. I can. All right, said Eric. Cosmos, you are the most impressive computer we have ever seen. Now, can we get on? I want to show George how a star is born. No, said Cosmos. No, said Eric. What do you mean, no, you ridiculous machine? Ridiculous means foolish, even though it is very much brilliant. As a good companion, Eric saying very much friendly, ridiculous mission. He must take the oath, said Cosmos. Good point, clever Cosmos, said Eric, leaping over to the blackboard. Leaping means to jump in a high or long way. Now it's the turn for George. George is going to explain about special secrets. George, said Eric, to learn about the greatest subject in the whole universe, are you prepared to take a special oath? To promise that you will use your knowledge only for good and not for evil. This is very important, George. Science can be a force for good, but it can also do great harm. George stood up straighter and looked Eric in the eye. I am, he confirmed. Then, said Eric, look at the words on the blackboard. It is the oath of the scientist. Read the oath out loud. The words of the oath made him feel tingly with excitement right down to his toes. He read the oath out loud as Eric had instructed, very much emotion way. Our George saying this oath. So this is the oath. I swear to use my scientific knowledge for the good of humanity. I promise never to harm any person in my search for enlightenment. I shall be courageous and careful in my quest for great knowledge about the mysteries that surround us. I shall not use scientific knowledge for my own personal gain or give it to those who seek to destroy the wonderful planet on which we live. If I break this oath, may the beauty and wonder of the universe forever remain hidden from me. It's a wonderful oath, isn't it, dear students? Our politicians also will do same type of oath before their duties. Same like that, for the personal gain or personal satisfaction, scientists should not take any gain from this scientific books and scientific world. That was the oath. So in between, let me ask a question. Do we have more powerful computers today? Yes, we have more powerful computers today that can do many things, but we do not have talking computer like Cosmos, isn't it? After this oath, Eric clapped, and he burst an empty crisp packet. Cosmos flashed a rainbow of bright colors across his screen. Well done, George, said Eric. Cosmos will now show us how a star is born. Come and sit here, George, called Annie, who had already settled herself on the big comfy sofa. Comfy means it's a type of wave structured, maybe most probably it's electric wave, isn't it? Electric wave structured sofa. George sat down next to her, and after a few seconds, he saw a tiny beam of very bright white light. It came directly from Cosmos' screen. The beam shot out into the middle of the room, where it wavered for a second before it began to sketch a shape in the air. But that looks like a George began to speak. A window, said Eric proudly. Cosmos has made us a window on the universe. Watch closely. The beam of the light disappeared, leaving the window it had drawn in the middle of Eric's sitting room, hanging in mid-air. It now looked exactly like a real window. It had a big sheet of glass in a pane and a metal frame. Single sheet itself called a pane. Beyond it, there was a view, and that view was not of Eric's house or of any house, road or town, or anywhere else that George had ever seen before. So, first time through the window, a special type of formation is forming. Actually, who is doing all these things? Our Cosmos supercomputer itself, speaking computer, isn't it? Instead, through the window, George could see an incredible vast darkness peppered with what looked like tiny bright stars. He stared or started to try and count them. Now, George can see a liberal type of stars, very much long distance. Now he started to count, isn't it? George, said Cosmos in his mechanical voice, there are billions and billions of stars in the universe, so you can't count exactly. New stars are created all the time. They are born in giant clouds of dust and gas. I am going to show you how it happens. How long does it take for a star to be born? George asked. Tens of millions of years, replied Cosmos. I hope you are not in a hurry. Tut, said Eric, sitting cross-legged on the floor beside the sofa. Don't worry, George. I have speeded it up quite a lot. You will still get home. Moving on, George noticed something about the view through the window onto outer space. Not all of it was covered with little stars. In the bottom corner of the window, he saw a patch of total darkness, a place where not a single star shone. What's happening there? He pointed. Let's have a look, shall we? Said Eric. He pressed a button on a remote control, and the view through the window seemed to zoom towards the dark patch. As they got closer, George realized that an enormous cloud was hovering in the spot. The window kept moving forward until they were right inside the cloud itself, and George could see it was made of gas and dust, just as Cosmos had said. What it is? He asked. And where it is? It's a huge cloud in outer space, much bigger than the ones in the sky, replied Eric. Made up of tiny, tiny particles which are all floating around inside it. There are so many of these particles that the cloud is enormous. It's so big that you could put millions and millions of Earths inside it. From this cloud, many stars will be born. Inside the cloud, George could see the particles moving around, some joining together to form huge lumps of matter. Lump means a special type of matter or substance, like a chair type of thing. These great lumps spun round and round, gathering even more particles all the time. But as the particles joined together, the spinning lumps weren't getting bigger. Instead, they seemed to be getting smaller, as though something was squeezing them. It looked like someone was making gigantic duff balls in outer space. Hovering means staying in the same position in the air without moving forward or backward. The formation of the star is literally explaining in this paragraph. One of these giant balls was quite close to the window now, and George could see it spinning round, getting smaller and smaller all the time. As it strang means past tense of string itself. It became hotter and hotter, so hot that George could feel the heat from where he sat on the sofa. And when it started to glow with a dim but frightening light. Why is it glowing? Asked George. The more it shrinks, said Eric, the hotter it gets. The hotter it gets, the brighter it shines. Very soon, it's going to get too hot. The ball exploded from the inside, throwing off its outer layers of burning hot gas in all directions. After the explosion, the ball was shining like the sun. Wow, said George. Is that the sun? It could be, Eric replied. That's how stars are born, and the sun is a star. When a huge amount of gas and dust combines and shrinks to become dense and hot, as you have just seen, the particles in the middle of the ball are so pressed together they start to fuse or join up, releasing an enormous amount of energy. This is called a nuclear fusion reaction. It is so powerful that when it starts, it throws off the outer layers of the ball and the rest is transformed into star. That's what you just saw. So now let me ask you a question. Is George actually looking at the sun through the special window? Are there differences between the sun and stars? So the George is not looking at the sun, isn't it? The sun is like any other star, but is the biggest one in the solar system and closest to the earth. It is in the center, and all the planets in our solar system revolve around the sun. That is a natural cyclic process that we know, isn't it? The star was now shining sturdily in the distance. It was a brightful sight. George gazed at it, amazed by its power. Every now and then he could see huge jets of brightly shining gases sent hundreds of thousands of miles from the surface at extraordinary speeds. And the star will keep on shining like this forever, he asked. Nothing is forever, George, said Eric. Adapted from George's Secret Key to the Universe by Lucy Stephen Hawking. Actually, this is a big story. It is written by Stephen Hawking himself. A small portion is adapted from that main textbook to our first chapter by Lucy Hawking itself. A small portion is edited and provided for us. So let's go through Stephen Hawking. Stephen William Hawking was an English theoretical physicist, cosmologist, author, and director of research at the Centre for Theoretical Cosmology within the University of Cambridge. He is known for his contributions to the field of cosmology, general relativity, and quantum gravity, especially in the context of black holes. His most famous book is called A Brief History of Time. Hawking had a rare early onset slow progression from of motor neuron disease, also known as ALS, that gradually paralyzed him over the decades. Even after the loss of his speech, he was still able to communicate through a speech generating device, initially through use of a handheld switch and eventually by using single cheek muscle. Lucy Hawking is best known as children's novelist and science educator. She is the daughter of theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking and writer Jane Wilde Hawking. As a young adult, she played a significant role in the tending to her father's deterioration health caused by ALS.